Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are reviewing Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Semifinal series between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Islanders. It was a great Game 1. A pretty slow game, but for the New York Islanders, that's the kind of game they want to see. We'll be reviewing that game in this video. So let's get right into it. So going into this series, a lot of people, of the 15 ESPN writers, the Tampa Bay Lightning were supposed to win from 8 of those 15, which actually meant it was an 8-7 ratio, which is actually pretty fair to the New York Islanders. And I think people are starting to maybe realize that you shouldn't sleep on the Islanders. And we saw maybe a reason for that in game number 1. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the game, of course. That's just how the scheduling works. But I recapped some of the game, and we'll be looking at that here. And I know you guys have been asking for recaps of the playoff series videos, so I'm going to try and do that for you guys. Now that we're in the semifinals, there's only 2 series left. I will be able to do that for you guys. So, let's get right into it. So game 1 was a really solid, it was a great start for the Lightning. The Islanders really were on their heels in the first part of this game. They were at one point in this game down 6-1 in shots. Now Tampa Bay really dominated for the most part in the first period, but the Islanders' bend, don't break mentality, it worked once again. Now at the end of the period, the Islanders would actually have more shots than the Tampa Bay Lightning, out shooting the Bolts 14-11. But we did not see any goals. The Islanders did have a power play whatsoever, but they were outshot 3-0 on that power play. Tampa Bay had 3 shorthanded opportunities, while the Islanders had 0 on the power play. And that storyline continued early into the second period. The Islanders would go 0-3 on the power play this game, which maybe not in this game was a factor, but as this series goes along, that could be a problem for the Islanders. They really have to correct that, especially against this very dominant Tampa Bay Lightning team. 0-3 on the power play is a little bit concerning in Game 1. You see in the second period, this was a pretty even series, but again, a bad play by Steven Stamkos, the captain of the Lightning, forcing a play. The Islanders turn the puck over, and who's open right in the middle of the ice? Coming back the other way, number 13, Matt Barzal. He comes in on a semi-breakaway, and Matt Barzal scores the first goal of this series. It was very close to goalie interference, but you could clearly tell the puck was already in the net. Once Barzal kind of went into Vasilevsky, there was a push from the back from Jan Rutta, who just couldn't keep up with Barzal. 1-0 Islanders. And the Islanders at this point, you could hear a pin drop in Amalie Arena. I don't know what the fans were doing in there. I don't know if they were pre-gaming too hard and they just had no energy for the game. But it was a very quiet building there in Tampa Bay. Now we go into the third period, and a little over 5 minutes into the third period, Ryan Pulock scores his 4th goal of the postseason for the Islanders. He only had 3 or 4 goals throughout the entire regular season, and they were toward the end of the season. Ryan Pulock, who struggled for the most part in terms of scoring during the season, he comes up big here in the postseason. He has as many goals as Matt Barzal, who Matt Barzal has been hot coming into this series. They each scored their 4th of the postseason, so it's 2-0 Islanders, and now you are thinking, if you're Tampa Bay, oh crap, we're down 2-0 to a Lou Lamoriello, Barry Trotz team. That's a recipe for disaster. Now, Tampa Bay would get a couple of opportunities in that third period. They did push back. They outshot the Islanders 11-8 in that third period. They did end up getting a 6-on-4 power play. Brock Nelson, he did have his stick in the air. Kucherov definitely sold that a little bit. Tampa Bay gets a 6-on-4 power play. And the Islanders were able to stop them on the first one. A 6-on-4 against Tampa Bay. Not going to happen. Braden Point scores. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, he gets his 9th of the postseason, and that's it. That was less than a minute left in regulation. Braden Point would get that goal, but that would be it. And the Islanders win Game 1. You couldn't have written it any better for the New York Islanders. The Islanders win this game 2-1, and this is how the Islanders are going to play against Tampa Bay. They're just going to suffocate the building, which it didn't seem like they really needed much help, and it seems like the fans were just out of it from the beginning. I don't know what happened there. But the Islanders they dominated. They played the game that they play. Shots were completely even, 31-31 at the end of the day. The Islanders were able to hold off the power play a little bit. It was, they were 1 for 2, But again, 6-on-4 against Tampa Bay, that's asking for a lot. They did give up that late goal to end the shutout for Varlamov. And now we're starting to see, can Tampa Bay's depth step up? Because for the most part, we've seen the big boys get on the board. Guys like Alex Killorn, Steven Stamkos, and Braden Point, which Braden Point did score in this game. But another interesting fact here, Ryan Pulock, who got his 4th of the postseason here, he has more goals than the entire Tampa Bay defense, which has 0. The Tampa Bay Lightning defense, yes, I know Victor Hedman has, 12 or 13 assists here in the postseason? Yeah, they're all assists. The Tampa Bay Lightning defense does not have a goal. And there were a couple opportunities where you saw David Savard from the point winding up shots, but again, nobody in front of the net. Varlamov just puts it right in the breadbasket. Let's have a face-off, that's it. And the Islanders were able to do that for the most part through this entire game, and they played their game. And Tampa Bay, who very much, likes to, going into this series, has been told, listen, we could beat you in a back-and-forth scoring match, or we could beat you in a tight scoring game. But the Islanders were able to outdo the Lightning in Game 1. I would expect a little bit of physicality coming into Game 2. Patrick Maroon, we saw what he did in that series against Florida. I would expect Patrick Maroon maybe to, go over the edge. Even if he gets suspended, who cares? You don't need Patrick Maroon. Just to get in the Islanders' head a little bit. And that's difficult to do. The Islanders have not been rattled throughout this playoff so far. But I think John Cooper and the Lightning know they have to do something here because the Islanders played their game to a T. And I think the Lightning have to make it a little bit more difficult on the Islanders in that regard. And ideally, you want to try and make the Islanders draw some penalties because we know the Islanders' penalty kill has not been that good. And the power play has been a bit of an issue in terms of, the Bruins were 7 for 14 on the power play. They were at 50% against the Islanders in the last series. Now we're talking about Tampa Bay, who has an even more lethal group up front. Maybe Tampa Bay tries drawing the Islanders into a couple of penalties. Even if they make it 4-on-4 or, get a couple power plays, the Islanders may have that in their head. I talked about this in the preview series, talking about the Islanders and Lightning. That could be a problem. So we'll see how this goes. But the key for the Islanders is, listen, we've seen them do this before. They were able to shut down Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin in the first round. They were able to shut down the perfection line in Pasternak, Bergeron, and Marchand did score a couple goals in this series. But other than that, the Islanders were able to shut down guys like Taylor Hall. So going into this series so far, they were able to shut down Hedman, Stamkos, and Kucherov. Now, they did let Braden Point score, which is something to notice. But again, can the Islanders do this for an entire series? And now, if you're Tampa Bay, now you have to win 4 out of 6 against the Islanders. It's still very doable for the Lightning. They put themselves in a little bit of a different situation than last year, where they were up 3-1 against the Islanders in that series last year. They're finding themselves early down against the Islanders. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of Game 1 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Islanders? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And all those Lightning fans saying they were going to, the Bolts in 3, Bolts in 4. How do you feel right now? Let me know down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.